Hello and thanks for joining me, your sports pilot James Glory, on another exciting edition of Sport Vibe with DNT. Will bring you exciting and latest sport happenings across the world of sports every Tuesday, as is our tradition to do that every week, and this week will be an exception. So we implore you to please stay tuned, because we will be right back shortly after this break. Welcome back to today's episode of Sport Vibe on DNT World, and starting from the world of Formula 1. Guess who continued from where he stopped last season in the world of Formula 1? Maxverstappen is back at it again at the beginning of this season, as he was able to claim the Grand Prix that took place in Bahrain. He was able to finish in the first position in Bahrain, followed closely by his teammates when you talk about Sergio Perez, and in the third position we have Carlos Sainz in the third position. And in that particular competition, Carlos Sainz was also able to win the Driver of the Day award in Bahrain Grand Prix, and next week we'll be witnessing another Grand Prix. Will Max Verstappen be able to win this one that will be taking place in Saudi Arabia? Max Verstappen is at it again this season. How many wins will he be able to accumulate this season? Remember, last season he dominated in the world of Formula 1. And quickly, let's travel down to the world of boxing, where we talk about the fight that is set to take place between Francis Ngannou and Anthony Joshua by March 8th. Remember, these two will be facing each other in Saudi Arabia. So many things will be happening in Saudi Arabia this week. It will be an interesting fight to watch between Francis Ngannou and Anthony Joshua. You remember that Ngannou was able to face Tyson Fury in a fight, but that was left to a unanimous decision at the very end of that competition. Also, you remember that Anthony Joshua has been on impressive form in the world of boxing. Who will be winning this fight between these two that will be taking place March 8th, just this week that we are in? And let's hope that Anthony Joshua will be able to win that to make Nigerians proud in the world of boxing. And quickly down to the world of Formula 1, let's bring you an interesting one, as Lebron James becomes the first NBA player in the history of basketball to have 40 career points. Quite an interesting one for Lebron James, who was able to surpass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but at 9 points away from 4,000 career points before they faced the Nuggets. And remember that against the Nuggets, LeBron James was able to achieve that feat and become the first NBA player to have 40,000 career points in the world of basketball. Quite an interesting one, as we find our way back to the world of boxing, where we can announce to you that Dillian White has been free to continue with his career after being initially tested positive for doping. Now result has been out stating that he is free to participate and continue with his career after there has been some mix up in the supplement and in the equipment that was used for his doping test. And now people have come out to say that he is free to participate and continue in his career in the world of boxing. But similarly, in the world of football, we can say the same thing about Paula Pogba, who has been banned for 4 years after being tested for doping in the world of football. We will be hoping that Paula Pogba will return to the world of football, or maybe Paula Pogba will be witnessing the same fate of Dillian White if he will be able to continue with his career after this doping test has been made. Paul Pogba has said he will be appealing in the court against the decision of the anti-doping organization. Let's see if he will be able to win this in the court of law, and if he will be able to get back to the field of play to continue his career after the 4 years ban. Let's see what will be happening in favor of Pogba, or if we will not be seeing Pogba for another 4 years in the world of football. And still in the world of football, quite an interesting one where we talk about national team, we talk about the Spanish national team, we talk about their women's team. Remember that a few months ago, the Spanish national team, where you talk about the women's category, were able to win the World Cup, and just a few months after, they have been able to win the first edition of the Women's UEFA National League. It's quite an interesting one, winning the Nation League when it comes to the UEFA women's category. It's a great one for the Spanish team when you talk about their women's category, winning the first Nation League of the UEFA when it comes to the women's category months after winning the World Cup. It's an interesting one for them, and let's see if they'll be able to build up with the momentum when it comes to all that competition in the world of football. And having said that, let's quickly go on a very short break, and when we're right back, we continue from where we stop. Welcome back. Let's continue from where we stopped before the break, talking about national team. Let's talk about Nigeria that has appointed Austin Eguavoen as their interim coach after Jose Peseiro stepped out as the manager of Nigeria. Remember that Jose Peseiro was able to take Nigeria to the finals of the African Cup of Nations. He was unable to win the African Cup of Nations with Nigeria, sadly, and he has decided to step down as the manager of the Super Eagles after his contract got expired. And now Austin Eguavoen, as usual, is now appointed as the interim coach of the Super Eagles. How long will Austin Eguavoen be retaining the spot as the manager of the Super Eagles? And let's see if Austin Eguavoen will be able to retain the spot of the head coach of the Super Eagles. And still talking about football, quite an interesting one during the week in the Premier League, where we saw Timo Werner scoring his first goal for Tottenham Hotspur as they were able to defeat Crystal Palace coming from behind. Timo Werner was able to find his name on the score sheet, and Tottenham are continuing to press on for the Champions League game next season. And quite an interesting one also when we talk about the Premier League football. Aston Villa are maintaining the fourth position in the Premier League currently, but we can say same thing for Chelsea, who suffered a draw against Brentford. They were ahead in that particular one, but they came behind from 2-1 to get a draw on the birthday of their manager Mauricio Pochettino. Was able to secure a point, and Chelsea are closer to the bottom table than Liverpool at the top of the Premier League table. Quite a devastating one for Chelsea, and also a devastating one for Manchester United, who suffered a defeat in the Manchester derby against Manchester City. It's quite an interesting one for Manchester City, who were able to do the double against Manchester United this season. Manchester United were hoping that they will be able to continue with their form that they have in the Etihad Stadium against Manchester City, but unlike every other time, Manchester United were unable to defeat Manchester City, though they went a goal up in the first half against Manchester City, and Manchester City got a point behind Liverpool in the title race in the Premier League right now. Quite an interesting one in that particular match. You remember that Foden was able to score a brace, and Lebron Haaland scored a goal to end the Manchester debut, 3-1 in favor of Manchester City. Quite an interesting one that Manchester City and Liverpool will be playing themselves next in the Premier League, and this will be a decisive one in the title race. After that particular match, Liverpool versus Manchester City, will be seeing Arsenal taking on Manchester City next in the Premier League. This will be an interesting month to decide who will be the winner in the Premier League. And quickly, let's talk about the FA Cup quarter-final draw that has been made, where we'll be seeing Manchester United playing Liverpool in the quarter-finals of the FA Cup. We'll be seeing Manchester City playing Newcastle in the quarter-finals of the FA Cup. Chelsea will be playing Leicester City, and finally we'll be seeing Wolves take on Coventry in the quarter-finals of the FA Cup. Who will be winning the FA Cup? We still have the two Manchester side in the FA Cup. Will it be Liverpool winning the FA Cup? Will it be Manchester United or Manchester City winning the FA Cup? And this is the length at which we'll be going on today's episode of Sport Vibe on DNT World. For more news and sports stories, follow us across our various social media handle at Sport Vibe on DNT World. Enjoy your week, remain blessed, stay safe. Thank you.